As promised, I promised you that I would come home and make a video to review adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Watch the video, come back to it. It'll be in your Google Classroom whenever you want it. I'm also going to start with the number line that we started with that has the benchmark fractions. Remember, I told you that this is super, super, super important to memorize. These should just come to you naturally. Don't forget about least common multiple. All of those things are going to come in. So we're just going to do some practice. So feel free, like I said, to come back and watch this at any point. Okay, like I said, I'm going to start with the benchmark fraction number line. Excuse what I'm writing with. It's the only thing I could find. All of my markers are at school. You know I have that big old thing of markers. But we're going to start with the benchmark fraction number line. And if you drew this in your notebook, you will remember it. Remember, we start and we say this is the same as 1/2, and this is 1/2, if you recall. And then we added and we divided each of these pieces in half. And we say, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So we're going to say this is 1/4, this is 2/4, this is 3/4, and that is 1 still, if you remember that. And then we divided each of these fourths in half. Now I'm going to use a color that we can see better. And we said half here, half here, half here, half here. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 1 again. And if you recall, when we looked at these, we said that 1/4 and 2/8 are equivalent, 1/2, 2/4, 4/8 are equivalent, 3/4, 6/8 are equivalent, and then all of our wholes for each one of these fractions. I do recommend memorizing this, friends. This will come in handy when you're adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. All right, so we're just going to get rid of that and go to a blank page. All right, so let me make sure you can still see. Good job. Awesome. Okay, this one I want you to write in your notebook. I want to make sure that you are doing it with us. All right, so let's add 3/4 plus 2/8. Okay? And if you remember, the first step is that we are going to find our least common multiple. That is what we're finding. It's not like simplifying fractions. We're finding the least common multiple. So we're going to take our denominators, and then we're going to create our chart. And so, excuse my children, you can hear them in the background. So we're going to come up with multiples, and it's going to be 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. And then the multiples of 8 are 8. Remember, multiples are skip counting. 16, 24, 32, and then 40. Remember, I recommend doing 5 multiples of each. And then I'm going to go through. Our next step is to find the ones that they have in common. They have 8 in common. They have 16 in common. But it says here that means least. So the smallest one that they have in common is 8. So that means I can create equivalent fractions that will change these so that it equals 8. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to write it down here, 3/4, and we're going to use 8 as our denominator now. So we say in our heads, 4 times what equals 8? 4 times 2 equals 8. Whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. So our new fraction that was going to replace this one is 6/8. Make sure if you write it up here like this, you mark it out. Or you can write a whole new equation down here. But I noticed something here. This one already has 8 in the denominator. So there is nothing that I can do to change that. Because 2/8 equals 8, I'm going to multiply by 1. And you know when you multiply by 1, it does not change the value of what we already have. So now we have 6/8 plus 2/8. That is our new equation. 6 plus 2 is 8. Our denominator does not change. 8/8 is the answer. And you need to make sure it is properly written. It is actually 1 and not 8/8 any longer. Okay guys, now we're going to try one where we are actually going to subtract with different denominators. And it's going to be different from when we subtracted mixed numbers. We're not going to have to convert it or change it. Right now we are just subtracting fractions themselves. So here we have, let's say we have 5, 6, and we're going to subtract 2/3. Some of you might be saying, I know, Miss Weaver, I know exactly what it is already. Hold on, let's double check our work. Remember, we're going to find the multiples of each of these numbers to create equivalent fractions. So we have 6, we're going to create our little T-chart, and we have 3. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. How many did I tell you to come up with for multiples? 5, that's right. So then here, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Actually went 6 with that one. I got a little overzealous, but that is okay. And then we go back and we're going to circle the ones they have in common. You can stop once you have a low one, the least one in common. I'm just going to continue going. They have 12 in common. They have 18 in common. And I would venture to guess the further we go, the more they have in common. I also know 3 is half of 6. Something to do. But I am going to star the 6 because that is the smallest one, the least one that they have in common. So that is the one that I'm actually going to use for our equation. I'm going to fix both of these so that the denominator is 6 because that is our common multiple. But I already see here, you're right, 6 is already there. This time, instead of marking it out like we did on the other one, I'm going to show you what happens when we rewrite the equation. I don't have to change this one. It's good to go. But I do have to change the 2/3. So think in your head. Oh, and I'm sorry, you can't see. There you go. 2/3 equals what over 6? Well, 3 times what equals 6? 3 times 2. 2, so then you have to take this. You have to multiply by the same thing. So 4/6 is our equivalent fraction. So we're going to say 5/6 minus 4/6. The denominator is going to stay the same. I can go ahead and write it out. 5 minus 4 is 1. 5/6 minus 4/6 is 1. All right, friends, I'm going to do a little challenge for you. We're going to make a mixed number with different denominators, just for fun. Some of you, if you don't want to do it, go ahead and cut it off. But I'm going to try this with some of you just to see how it goes. So let's say we have 4 6/8 minus 3 2/4. Friends, nothing changes in what you are doing. We know right away that the fraction is different. So their denominators, I know I have to change. I'm going to ignore the whole numbers for just a minute, and then I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to create my chart. What are the multiples of 8? Say them with me. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. What are the multiples of 4? 4, 8, Ms. Weaver, 12, 16, 20. Stay over there, bud. I have an audience watching me now. And then we have to do what? What is the next thing that we do? We have to circle the ones that we have in common. They both have 8 in common. And that is all I see that they have in, oh, nope, they have 16 in common. Duh, Miss Weaver. But we're going to use least common multiple, the smallest one, the least that they have in common. All right, so now I can go and I can change these. But friends, look at this one. It already has what in the denominator? What is that number right there? It is 8. We don't have to do anything to it. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down here. Don't have to change it. I can leave it alone. Even the whole number. There's nothing I need to do to the whole numbers when the fractions are different like this, unless I have to borrow. But right now, I think we're good to go. And then I'm going to change 2/4 equals how many eighths? Well, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. So this right here is 4/8. So I am subtracting 3 4/8. So now, remember when we subtract fractions or mixed numbers, we subtract the fraction first to make sure it works so that we don't have to convert it into an improper fraction. 6 take away 4 is 2. Our denominator does not change. 4 take away 3 is 1. 1 2/8 is our answer. Good work. Good job. Hope this video helped you. If you continue to need practice, please, 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 please let me know. But make wise choices on your pathway. Make sure that you are choosing things that are going to help you in the long run. Make sure that it's stuff that maybe challenges you a little bit and makes you think. But continue to practice it. Learn, 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 learn. That benchmark number line that we worked on. I'm going to create a thing to put on the board for you that it will stay there for a while so that it'll help you memorize it. Continue to use all of those charts that are on the board. Do whatever it takes to help you. Let me know how I can help you too.